Alright, hello everybody! I am Astra, the founder of Astral Industries. We are here today to celebrate Astral, recap the previous year of the group, and showcase what you can look forward to in the future. Now, before I continue, can you confirm that my mic's actually coming through? Like, you can actually hear me in YouTube chat. Can you confirm that? Alright, seems audio's good to go. So, let's continue. So, I'd like to give, okay, before we get started, I'd like to take a moment and introduce the wonderful people who helped make this event possible. First, we have the rest of the Astral Industry staff team, consisting of Underscorched, STMO2, Mokino Mocha, Highwell Plays, and Hexarius as our developers, as well as our amazing voice actors, early access testers, and moderation teams. These people are critical to keeping the group going, and I cannot be any more glad to have them with us along for the ride. I'd like to give a special thanks to Scorch and Mocha in particular, as they are the ones who helped orchestrate this event by helping me build the Vector Center and just with planning all around. Without them, none of this would have happened. Next, I'd like to introduce today's VIP guests. So, our VIPs for today, we have the staff team of Nova Incorporated, Nuclear Engineering Corporation, Cosmic Science, as Astral Industries staff, Ziltic Industries, and a couple other people from the Spark timeline. These people are incredibly important to us, and we are so glad that they have been able to join us for today. Now, so, besides those joining us today, we would also like to introduce our wonderful affiliates, who help drive connections between communities to help form Astral's vision for an interconnected world of sci-fi on the Roblox platform. In no particular order, the members of the Astral Affiliate Program are the Auroral Atomic Corporation, Cosmic Science Incorporated, the Nuclear Engineering Corporation, Obscura Development, Nova Incorporated, Ziltic Industries, Highwell Plays Official, Windborne Studios, Nadaya, Pinewood Builders, and Roblox Accelerated Science. Each of these groups has something amazing to provide to the greater Roblox platform, and we are so proud to have this many groups as our partners throughout our journey of creating games for everyone to enjoy. Okay, introductions aside, we have a presentation to get to, so let's get started. Although Astral Central has always been a recap event for Astral Industries, this year is a little bit different. Instead of mainly focusing on the past, we want to focus more on the future and what it holds for us not only for ERH 2.0, but us as a development studio as well. But before we get into the new content, let's take a look back at what Astral Industries has done in 2022. Now, Astral has been quite busy in 2022, and although we didn't get anything out this year when it comes to new games, we have been working hard to help conceptualize and build the infrastructure to support our ambitions when it comes to Energy Research Hub 2.0 and beyond. So let's start with ERH 2.0, or rather, ERH 1.1. Before ERH 2.0 was what it is now, an entirely new game, it was originally just an update for Energy Research Hub 1.0. ERH 1.1, the interactivity update, was announced at Astral Day 2021 to bring ERH 1.0 up to what we considered engaging gameplay, bringing new features like actually working research labs and more experiments to run on the reactor. Although this never came to fruition, ERH 1.1 helped prove something about the state of Energy Research Hub at the time. It simply wasn't fun. We got caught up in providing a unique experience and exploration, so we forgot to actually make the game fun. Somehow, we managed to forget to make a game that was enjoyable to play, which is a pretty big part of why ERH 1.0 failed. The only gameplay mechanic was the reactor. That was it. We fell into the trap that seems to plague most other starter groups, fantasizing over a single mechanic and devoting the entire game to it. ERH 2.0 plans to solve these issues in a lot of ways, but we'll get more into that later. Late in 2021, we decided to scrap ERH 1.1 as just an expansion to the already broken foundations of ERH 1.0, and decided to rebuild the map from scratch. We didn't realize this at the time, But this was the step that helped lead to the creation of ERH 2.0, free from the expectations of the previous game and free to reach for more engaging and fun gameplay. The map in particular was a bottleneck, as the layout felt constricting and stretched out to those who we got feedback from. ERH 2.0 solves this by providing a map that not only has a lot of content to explore, but has something to find no matter where you go on the map. While walking from one sector to another, you can easily get lost in several different gameplay opportunities, secret Easter eggs, or small details that you may not notice when first looking around. If you look up at the displays, just to give you an idea, this is a diagram showing just a few of the gameplay opportunities that you can find as you walk from spawn to the reactor control room. Now, none of it's labeled because spoilers, but this tree is accurate, which I think is pretty cool. ERH 2.0 is currently split into 6 different sectors, labeled A through F, and I'll quickly run through them all. Sector A is the entrance zone, serving mainly as a hub within the hub, providing central services and access to almost every other sector within the map. It serves as a great meeting space, with quick access to food, health services, and tech support for any problems that may arise during your shifts. Sector A serves as your introduction to the Energy Research Hub, so it's important that we get our first impressions right. Sector B, the Aurora Cavern, is the center of the facility's Material Research Division. A large, sprawling cavern system, Sector B allows for greater exploration of the underground portion of the facility. Make sure to pick up your safety gear first, as hazards in the cave can prove quite dangerous if you get caught off guard. Sector C is for the facility's reactor, the DTX AFR. Roblox's first ever dual-cycle fusion reactor, the DTX AFR uses the entire chamber as its primary fuel source, as the interior is filled with a gaseous version of our fuel, a blend of deuterium and tritium X, a supercharged and extremely volatile form of tritium. Players will have the opportunity to experiment with this new fuel source, but they must be careful not to trip the reactor, as one misplaced spark could set the entire chamber ablaze. Sector D is for infrastructure and logistics. The backbone of the facility, Sector D houses a variety of life support systems, fluid management systems, electrical systems, and a cargo bay for deliveries and exports, and much more. Starlight, the facility's integrated control system, is also based in Sector D, so players will have the opportunity to act as technicians and ensure the rest of the facility stays stable through repairing these critical systems. Sector E is administration. Access via tram for Sector C, this is where you can find a majority of the facility's offices, the auditorium, and some of the facility's customizable housing plots. More on that later. This area is meant for socialization, role-playing, and overall fun, which takes in part from its separation from the rest of the facility via a tram. It can also serve as an evacuation site in the case of fires or other catastrophic events that could occur while you are visiting. Lastly, we have Sector F, the surface complex. This area of the map is meant as a laboratory, and it holds spaces for plenty of science to go down. Players will be able to analyze and refine ores, build and launch satellites, run experiments in a particle accelerator, and much more, whilst also having opportunities to create a space of their own with even more housing slots. Alright, that's it for the general map overview, but I'm sure you can tell how every stretch of the map will have something for you to do, leaving no space untouched. Would an actual facility of this scale waste any space? If not, why should we? This kind of reasoning is a driving force in ERH 2.0's development philosophy, and we want to ensure that above all else, the game is actually fun. Now, not much has been done in the last 6 months or so. 2022 has been filled with long-term hiatuses, mainly stemming from a lack of motivation, schoolwork, and a variety of other excuses which we could spend hours going over. Coming up front, we want to acknowledge that although Astral hasn't accomplished much since June, we are slowly but surely building the framework for an amazing experience that we're sure you will all enjoy. Back-end systems like data saving, inventory management, and user interface have all taken priority over actually building the map, as we want to ensure that gameplay features work as intended before we build where they will stand in the final product. As for ERH 2.0's upcoming closed alpha, that's likely going to be pushed to summer 2023 or later. We do have the goal of getting ERH 2.0 out to an open beta sometime in 2024, so you can keep an eye out for that in the future. The open beta will feature sectors A, B, C, and D, with sectors E and F coming with the full release of the game. Now, let's switch things up for a little, shall we? Alright everyone, it's time for this year's Resonance Awards! The Resonance Awards are something that we came up with in the last month or so, as we wanted to further celebrate our community through giving some awards that totally weren't ripped from the Cosmic Awards. Totally. Now, the first award we have to offer is an award that celebrates the person who is at the center of our community, providing a common source of fun and excitement that otherwise isn't seen much within our server. So, this year's nominees for the Community Nexus Awards are Mr. Yeterson, 28452, otherwise known as Furry, STM02, Gentle Trez 9, and Barret Enjoyer. And if you look at the displays, the winner is... Oh, any second now. It's Barret Enjoyer, with 9 votes. Barret has played a great part in Astral's community, providing a fun attitude and plenty of memes to help raise our spirits whenever we need it most. This race was extremely close, with the winner being decided by only 1 vote, while second and third place were tied. Thank you, and congratulations. The next award we have to give is to what the community considers our best event up to this point. Whether it be informative, fun, or otherwise engaging, we strive to put on events that allow for you to be a part of the development process, while also striving to have a bit of fun at the same time. The nominees for the Best Astral Industries event are Astral Central 2020, the first ever Astral Central event, ERH 1.0's beta release party, Energy Research Hub 1.0's full release party, and the Energy Research Hub 1.0 Last Hurrah event, which also featured a 2.0 preview server. And the Resonance Award goes to... the Energy Research Hub 1.0 Last Hurrah! A send-off to ERH 1.0 and its history, we came together one last time to enjoy what Astral's foundations were built off of, and took a small look into the future. Thank you for your contributions, and I hope that these events we hold now are even better in the future. Now, our next award is one that represents the best of Astral's staff team, someone who is passionate about their work, friendly, and overall a great person to be around. This year's nominees for the Staff Member of the Year are Mokino Mocha, Underscorched, STM02, and Mr. Yeterson 28452. And the winner for this year's Staff Member of the Year goes to Mokino Mocha! Mocha is one of our new developers this year, and she has been an amazing person to work with. I am so glad we managed to get her on our team, and she has been an excellent member of our team, and she has contributed quite a lot when it comes to concepting and planning. You'll see a lot more of her and the rest of our staff team later, but I would like to thank you all for participating in the vote for this award. Now, moving on from this award, we have to mention that Astral Industries is, well, obviously, a development group, so we tend to also attract other amazing developers to showcase their work in our Discord's creation forum. We wanted to celebrate the amazing work done by these people, so the nominees for this year's Community Creation of the Year are Aradna Generation Complex by Antaraska and Cosmic Science, Garamond Research Facility Reimagined by Kirusi and Prisma Studios, Untitled Core Game Project by Matrix Play 123123, and Project DMC by Zenit277. All of these projects look stunning, but there can only be one winner. After a 9-9 tie and a deciding vote from the staff team, the winner is Aradna Generation Complex by Antaraska and Cosmic Science Incorporated. We love not only what they have done to create in the wake of the iconic Aperture build style, but also how they have implemented a unique style of their own to provide a truly unique experience. Props out to Cosmic for their hard work. Lastly, we have the award for Astral Affiliate of the Year. Being an Astral Affiliate is more than just following the Discord's announcement channels. It's a commitment to share our values of respect, patience, and kindness towards all, and these groups have exemplified those values through their games, events, and actions. Here are the nominees for this year's Astral Affiliate of the Year. Cosmic Science Incorporated, Nova Incorporated, Nuclear Engineering Corporation, and the Aurora Atomic Corporation. And the winner is Nova Incorporated. Nova has skyrocketed this year, producing high-quality games whilst also fostering an active and bright community. Congratulations on winning this award! Now, that's it for the main awards. However, voters know that there was also an attached anticipation survey which we used to gather feedback on ideas and features for our projects. Here's some of our findings. The most anticipated part of Energy Research Hub 2.0 isn't actually the mining system, drone companions, or even the reactor. It's actually the 30-plus song long original soundtrack which is slated to join the game upon its release. As ERH 2.0's lead composer, I am honored to have a fan base that is excited to hear what ERH 2.0 has to offer, both in ambience and in active music. Stay tuned for more information regarding the soundtrack sometime soon. In the survey, we pitched 5 game ideas and asked which one you would most likely play. In first place was this pitch. A game where you have to escape a broken facility after a calamity occurred, leaving you without memory of what happened except for a strange flash of light. To those who voted, keep in mind that these pitches were all real ideas that the dev team has discussed, and your feedback may actually shape the future of what we create. This concludes this year's Resonance Awards. However, we still have quite a bit to go over. Let's get started by asking this question. What can we expect from Astral in the upcoming years? Alright, so let's get started by going over Astral's main project, Energy Research Hub 2.0. We've touched on it a bit before in the presentation, but we want to stress that the most important aspect of 2.0 is that it is an enjoyable experience, not just a hallway simulator with a single ball core. Although the game may not be as visually impressive as other titles, we have a ton of gameplay packed into this game. So let's take a deep dive into what you can expect from Energy Research Hub 2.0. At its core, Energy Research Hub's gameplay is designed around a leveling system. Playing the game will earn you experience, or XP, over time. This XP is automatically converted into levels when you reach a certain amount, which grants you a variety of rewards as you progress. XP can also be boosted by a variety of factors, including owning Astral Plus, having an active satellite on orbit, taking a brain-boosting tablet from the item shop, and much more. Besides XP, ERH 2.0's main currency is research points, or RP for short. RP is earned by playing the game, completing jobs, running missions, selling ores, and so much more. RP is used to buy consumables, furnitures, tools, drone companion shells and paints, mining equipment, and a lot more than just a flashlight and a useless clipboard. Oh, and by the way, we are going to have a clipboard, and it will be functional. Like, you can actually take notes on it. So, thanks to STM for the prototype. Now, XP, RP, and a variety of other stats are affected by a multiplier system, which allows consumables to stack their benefits on top of each other rather than going to waste whenever another consumable is in effect. These stacks have their limits, of course, but this will incentivize getting creative with your choice of consumables, items, and other equipment to spec out your multipliers for the maximum gain possible. On the topic of consumables, while we're at it, these are items that provide buffs, and sometimes debuffs, for a varying amount of time. They are split into 3 categories. Food items, usually full-size meals, provide a smaller but longer-term effect. Drink items, like smoothies, provide unique effects that other items can't. An example could be a special energy drink that makes your lab equipment recharge faster. Lastly, snack items give large bursts in a specific stat for a short period of time. A snack bar, for example, could give a large amount of speed, but again, only for a limited amount of time. Balancing these items and their cooldowns is key to ensure that you are always topped up at any given point in time, providing a variety of benefits in the process. Now, moving on to major gameplay mechanics, the primary draw to ERH 2.0 to established fans is likely going to be the facility's reactor, the Deuterium Tritium X Aerosol Fusion Reactor, or DTX-AFR. The DTX-AFR is Roblox's first ever dual-cycle reactor, meaning that it runs 2 fusion coils simultaneously in order to create an immense amount of energy. This reactor will feature plenty of stunning visuals with an equally stunning control scheme. As of now, the DTX-AFR is currently in its concepting phases. We have yet to make a full 3D model, but we will show it off whenever we finish creating it. Reactor operators will be able to manage this beast, generating power for the rest of the facility to use. Operators should be careful, however, as any misstep may cause the experimental fuel to become unstable and potentially ignite the entire chamber ablaze. Next, I'd like to touch on ERH 2.0's Material Research Division, which encompasses both the mining system and the material research labs. To start material research, you'd get some mining equipment and take a trip down to Sector B, the Aurora Cavern. Once in the depths of the cavern, you'd use one of 3 types of gears to extract ore for a variety of ores for sale and analysis. The first tool you'll use is the humble pickaxe, which you'll pick up from an NPC at the mouth of the caverns. This pickaxe won't really get you that far, but it is useful for finding level ground and establishing your hold in the mines. Once you mine your first few ores, then you can sell them to start saving for one of 2 types of mining equipment: deployable drills, or Deplo drills for short, or extraction lasers. Deplo drills, like the Setter Up 1000 found at Hydra Extraction's booth here in the Vector Center, are easy to use set and forget style machines. Use the provided remote to drop a Deplo drill in an ore vein and watch it run. Slow but consistent, Deplo drills are a great entry point into the mining scene for those who aren't looking to be extremely efficient. If you are looking to be pinpoint accurate and extremely efficient, I'd recommend picking up an extraction laser. Extraction lasers, like the Enter Extract 1000 by Hydra Extraction, are extremely powerful beams of energy that tear apart ores for easy pickup. Although they are fast and precise, they can often overheat, requiring a brief skill check to avoid an overheat. If this check is failed, it consumes a heat sink, a shared resource throughout every extraction laser you purchase. These heat sinks essentially act as second chances, and each type of laser can have a varying amount of heat sinks on it at a time. Running out of heat sinks and overheating your laser results in a catastrophic overheat, rendering the laser unusable for a period of time or until you replace the heat sinks. These extraction methods are designed to have their pros and cons, with Deplo drills being slow and consistent, and extraction lasers being fast but difficult to use. In addition, there are 4 types of ores, each requiring an upgraded tool to mine. Tier 1 ores require basic materials, or include basic minerals like fluorite and iron, while the extremely valuable Tier 4 ores can include obsidian and... Oh wait, the script's apparently been redacted by the Providence Organization. I'm sure this doesn't mean anything. What I have heard, though, is that Tier 4 ores can only be mined using extraction lasers, and that they are found in the deepest parts of the cavern, parts which need surveying. This brings me to survey missions, a minigame which you can participate in by grabbing a stack of survey beacons and exploring a randomly generated cave system. Explore the cave, dodge loose hazards and bottomless pits, and place down beacons to rack up points. To claim the points, and your rewards, simply make it back to the start of the cave. If you don't make it though, you'll lose all your points, so be safe when exploring the depths of unexplored caves. The deepest parts of unsurveyed caves may also contain extremely rare ores, ones which can be sold for quite a chunk of research points to the right vendors. There's also one ore that no laser or drill can mine. Weird. I wonder how we'll get our hands on it. Now, while the caves are nice, how about we look at the stars instead of moving underground? Let's talk about the Aerospace Research Complex. Located in Sector F Surface Complex, the ARC, or ARC, is a nexus for Astral Industries' aerospace subdivision, the Stellaria Aerospace Institute. ERH holds the only operating launch site for the Peregrine Autonomous Delivery Craft, a single-stage to orbit medium-lift launcher. The Peregrine can be used by players to launch their very own REXSATs, or Research and Exploration Satellites. These REXSATs can be custom-fitted with a variety of modular parts, allowing you to construct the perfect satellites for your needs. Need more research points? Attach a science module or 2. Need extra XP? Put on an extra antenna and let Astral use it for worldwide communications, giving you experience as payment. Satellites lasting too short in orbit? Put on an extra solar panel or even a miniature reactor to dramatically increase the time your satellite lasts before needing a replacement. And to those worried about space debris, REXSATs are designed to deorbit themselves once they run out of power, so no debris is left except exhaust gas. Now, to clarify, players cannot go to space aboard the Peregrine. It is not an escape option for superstructure failure events either. However, the Launch Control Center is conveniently built like a bunker, allowing for researchers to run to mission control to survive any explosions that may occur from either failing Peregrines or their facility's central reactor. If you're really wanting to escape a freeze down on a rocket, I'd suggest trying out Innovation Inc. Thermal Power Plant. They've got the best rocket escape of any game I've ever seen, and that's coming from someone who's been studying aerospace since they were 4. Now, rockets are great and all, but how about having the ability to express yourself in various ways? That is something in a game that I believe to be critical to the game's fun factor. And what better way to express yourself than to decorate your own apartment? Energy Research Hub 2.0's administration sector will have a variety of slots for players to create and customize their own apartments. Fill it with a variety of furniture of many different styles and manufacturers to create a look that is truly your own. Looking for something modern? Try out a bed from Celestial Comforts. Looking for something more antique? Get a mid-century bookcase from Carpentra. The possibilities are endless, and each update will bring even more customization options. Your apartment can also house functional lab equipment, allowing you to have a private space to refine ores and run experiments in. Your apartment is your space, meaning that you can either create a party venue, a cozy cabin interior, a sterile lab, or anything else you can imagine. The sky is your limit, and we can't wait to see what you create. There will also be housing slots in the surface complex, allowing players to get an up-close view of the Peregrine as it launches and lands at the Stellaria Aerospace Institute spaceport at ERH. Don't worry about sizing, though. All plots across the map have the same size, so you can build an apartment in one slot and easily load it into another. Apartments are also built with strong social areas nearby, so you can easily take 2 steps out of your apartment and be in a space to chat and chill with your fellow scientists. Speaking of self-expression, Energy Research Hub 2.0 has yet another form of personalization: drone companions. These adorable drone buddies are available from level 20 and provide a variety of benefits. Besides the obvious morale benefits, drone companions provide a source of light, XP, and research point multipliers, and a friend to adventure with while exploring the facility. Drone companions as a system are split into 2 categories: shells and paints. Drone shells are the actual mesh of the drone, defining its shape. Different drone shells have different forms of propulsion, containment of their inner core, and so on and so forth. My personal favorite is the Gamma shell, a shell with a large DTXA-powered engine in the back resembling a fighter jet. Drone paints are a further form of customization, essentially acting as skins for your drones. Want to look regal? Apply a golden paint. Want to shine in the darkness? Apply the RGB paint to have a rainbow neon effect on your drone's accent color. There are over 120 different shell and paint combinations, and that is just at launch. Each update will bring new shells and paints, allowing you to create your perfect combination to suit you and your personality. Drone companions can also be equipped at the Drone Services Station in Sector A, where a specialized technician will ensure that your drone companion is properly bonded to your avatar, so that it doesn't get split up. They can also repair your drone if it breaks, say if it gets hit by a stray rock in the Aurora cavern or take a shock from a lab machine. Drone companions are an extension of the self, and we hope that you enjoy these little balls of science and friendship as much as we enjoyed making them. Whew! That was a lot! ERH 2.0 has a lot planned, and we want to take the time to ensure that all of these mechanics are as fun as they can be. This means that an open beta will be quite a ways away, as we mentioned earlier. Now, besides gameplay, ERH 2.0 will also hold a 30-plus song long original soundtrack composed primarily by myself. This music is custom made to suit ERH 2.0's unique atmosphere and will provide a copyright-free, enjoyable experience for those both in-game and off-platform, as the OST will be streamable on platforms like Spotify and Apple Music upon the game's release. Music isn't easy to make though, and it takes quite a bit of time. This means that the game's OST will be released in volumes, usually around 9 to 10 songs each, as new features are added to the game. And to the one person on the anticipation survey out of 26 people that said they wouldn't listen to the soundtrack on streaming services, thank you for your honesty. Your voice has not gone unheard. Now, ERH 2.0 will also host our custom moderation suite, Starlight. Featuring a custom cross-platform integration via Underscorched's Starlight Bridge, moderators will be able to remotely handle bad actors through Discord while also having a comprehensive suite of admin commands in-game. Ever seen an admin system with a real-time X-ray highlight command? Well, Starlight has that. We are working hard to ensure that Starlight helps to improve the fun of Energy Research Hub 2.0 by removing exploiters and other bad actors from servers where players are just trying to enjoy themselves. That's all we have for ERH 2.0. We are glad to share our plans with you, but we sincerely hope you understand that development of this scale takes a long time, and that we don't have the most experience as developers either. We want to create experiences for everyone to enjoy, but creating this kind of experience is something that doesn't happen in a day. If you do want to help us though, Astral Industries is actively hiring, so go if you wish to apply, fill out the application form in the description of the YouTube stream. And even if you aren't great in Roblox Studio, We have positions for moderators, voice actors, composers, and more. Okay, I'll stop plugging the group. But yeah, remember the anticipation server from earlier, and how each of those games we listed were actual game ideas? Well, it turns out that we are actively planning for a few of them to become projects. Let's take a look at the first upcoming project, Fumbling Facility. Fumbling Facility is a round-based minigame series in which players are valued employees of the ever-so-reputable Science Inc., based on a wacky and hand-drawn aesthetic. Venture throughout the completely safe lab, totally 100%, as you complete minigames to earn your pay. Rounds last 20 rounds each, and the last 5 always have something happening across the facility. These so-called boss rounds can take a variety of forms, including a catastrophic reactor meltdown, a giant zombie escaping, a scientist with a death ray wreaking havoc, and so much more. Fumbling Facility is extremely early on in development, so while you shouldn't expect to play it anytime soon, just know that we are working on it. Oh, I think my train's here. Let's go and catch it. Welcome to Cozy Carriages. This is another project that Astral's been drafting up, and it involves a relaxing train moseying down an endless track towards nowhere in particular. Deck out your own carriage on the train with custom furniture, posters, music, and more as you create your very own space on board. We hope that you enjoy this simple and relaxing project when it eventually comes out, as it takes a break from the usual sci-fi aesthetic that Astral normally uses in its projects. Besides those 2 projects, again, every single one of the pitches in the anticipation survey could end up becoming actual games. These wouldn't come out for quite some time, but we are glad to have gotten your input on what you would enjoy playing. You could explore a space station, escape a calamity, or do so much more in upcoming Astral Industries titles. Wow, I'm gonna need to catch my breath after all of that. But before that, let's recap the recap. To begin with, ERH 2.0 is still Astral's main priority. We are focused on getting a beta out, but with features such as materials research, aerospace research, and reactor ops, it's gonna take a long time to create and even longer to get right. Expect an open beta sometime late next year or in early 2024. We are actively searching for more developers and staff members, so apply using the form in the stream description if you're interested in joining and helping us. We have other projects planned beyond ERH 2.0, including the minigame Havoc that is Fumbling Facility, and the comforting Cozy Carriages. And above all else, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for showing up to today's presentation. Astral wouldn't be what it is without our community, so it is an honor to have been giving you this presentation for today. Please stay tuned for an ERH 2.0 development Q&A session in 10 minutes. Send your questions in the Ask the Devs channel in the Astral Industries Discord server, and we will answer as many as you can. Now and forever, per aspera ad astra. Thank you all for watching.
Okay, I think we have an exploiter.
Okay. You just killed the lighting controls. Yeah.
Okay, 1 second.
Just turn on all the lights and then delete the panel. Okay.
Can you unfuck my window?
Apparently somebody managed to glitch into VIP.
Great.
No.
Just it's yeah.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Thank you. All right.
I think the camera is ready.
And they managed to turn on stage spots.
Okay. Hi.
Okay. Here, let me move Scorch in with us. All right. Hello. Uh, and welcome to the developer Q&A session. Um, we're just here to answer a few of the questions that you guys have asked us. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first question that we have is, um, what makes the entire chamber not ignite when one of the weird little spark things activate, and how does it not ignite other gases when there are gases that are already combusting? So, for this question, the spark probes on the DTX AFR use a magnetic confinement system, which, although this probably isn't the most realistic thing of all time, the spark probes basically confine the fusion such that it doesn't like spread throughout the chamber, and the spark probes, those like tiny like stick things that you saw coming out the bottom of them, those are what actually ignite the fuel source. So yeah. Moving on. Uh, how does Nico get affected by these new projects? Um, Nico is one of our Astral affiliates, and they have an upcoming project, Wind Rain Research Complex, which also takes place in the same general area that Year H 2.0 does. So I guess you could call them sister facilities in a way. Uh,
I guess.
they're both part of the Spark timeline, which is a lore, like entity that comprises of Astral, Nova, Nico, etc., etc., etc.
A few other groups. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. If I'm correct that that Wind Rain takes place in the same general area, I remember they had a project that did etc. But
Yeah. Win Wayne.
wait, did I say Nova was Wind Rain? No, that should be
No.
Nico. Okay, okay, whatever, whatever. Sorry.
Whatever. 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 Next question. Next
Okay,
question.
but yeah, we have been working with Nico to ensure that both of our projects come out. Oh my God, why are the lights
Boy.
strobing?
That's not me. What the hell?
Sorry
Just
about this,
delete.
guys.
Just delete all the lights panels. We're fine.
I did.
Okay, strobe off, power off. Yeah, sorry about that. People apparently have been getting access to the lighting somehow. Yeah, Mocha, please raise the curtain.
This is
I
why we should have improved this.
Yeah, this is my fault. Basically, we're using inertia lighting for
okay,
our
that's it.
system.
Effective immediately, all people are getting moved at least 4 rows away from the main seat. That's it.
Okay, whatever. Just
I yeah, I'm sorry if your ticket was not up there, but I'm not taking chances, and none of you get a seat anymore up here.
Okay. Sorry about that. I swear those things had a whitelist. Like we implemented a whitelist. I guess it just didn't work out.
Uh. Yeah.
You too.
Okay, actually moving back onto the Q&A. From Paragon, also known as Oliver Plays One.
What the hell?
I quote, I know that a meltdown is not entirely possible with a fusion reactor. How would the meltdown cycle work for this game, and can this type of fusion reactor melt down? Now, uh, the DTX AFR does not melt down like a normal like fission or fusion reactor would, where in which the actual like reactor structure like physically melts. The way
Yeah.
that a catastrophic event happens in ERH 2.0 is that the magnetic confinement on the spark probes begins to fail, as the temperature of the chamber gets too high, which eventually
does.
leads to all of the fuel in the chamber igniting at once, which, as you can imagine, isn't a good thing.
That would probably result in like a like not good things for the facility.
Yeah. And this type of fusion reactor, it can't really melt down, as it takes, uh, as with any actual fusion reactor, it takes a lot of energy to put in to the reactor in order to, like, just actually get the reaction going. So it can't really, like, go in a chain reaction and, like, run away up until a point of, like, a catastrophic meltdown. Like, that can't happen with
Except
fusion
for
reactors.
except for the fusion, the getting igniting and all that. Yeah, that's just yeah.
From Redstone Parkour, can we use DTX to remove players who are messing with the reactor from the control room? No. Um,
Why?
we tried that once in ERH 1.0 where there's like a lockdown button to the control room. Yeah, never again. Yeah, that was annoying, and the only purpose it served was to be like elitist and separate players who are already in the control room from players who weren't. So we are deciding not to take those chances, and we are letting everyone experience the game in its entirety. Okay, so from Vortex Cyclone, why was there a bomb in the building? You can
We
blame
should have
Nico for the bioweapon.
we
That
should have
wasn't
thoroughly
us.
searched. We should have thoroughly searched the bioweapon, not the booth for shit like that.
Yeah, we will be fixing that. We will be screening all booths next year so that this stuff doesn't happen again. All right, so from Aurelius Helios Algernon, what inspired the design and concept of the game's reactor system? So there's actually one design from a person on ArtStation. I forget who the artist's name when I need to credit them. Let me go look it up real quick, actually. But essentially, there's this one design, which is called Killzone Reactor on ArtStation, and oh god, please load. It was by Mike Hill, a designer for Blade Runner 2049, Horizon, Call of Duty, Halo, etc., etc. In short, they've done a lot of good work, and they posted a design titled Killzone Reactor, and that's where we got the idea that the entire chamber could be used as a gaseous fuel source. And by doing such, you can that's how we got the idea for this like unique fueling system, and from there the entire reactor design as a whole. From Apollo, also known as Joshua Star Wars, are there any other DTX AFR related disasters other than the meltdown? As of now, there's no like big disasters we have planned. Actually, no, we do have one.
Wasn't there the fuel pulling thingy?
Yeah. So basically, if the core temperature gets too low, and before you ask, no, it's not a freeze down. Don't get your hopes up. But essentially, if the chamber temperature gets so cold that the fuel in the chamber starts to condense on the chamber walls and the reactor structure, if it eventually stalls, like we plan on having a stall, then if you reignite it with pooled fuel in the chamber, the confinement doesn't work on liquids. So something bad could happen. From John, has there been concerns that ERH 2.0 is overambitious? I know very little about the game, but from what I hear, it sounds like it's going to be huge. With experience on games like QSurf, trying to pack too much into your game can severely hinder the player experience. A lot of the time, people in sci-fi want a core that goes boom, and a lot of these very cool features could go unutilized. This has been something that we have been considering the entire time. But our driving philosophy behind Energy Research Hub 2.0 has been that sci-fi is more than just reactors. Yes, we know that some people are going to only go to the reactor and not really do anything else, but we want to provide a chance for people to explore what the genre has to offer as a whole, including a detailed mining system, aerospace research, apartments, all this stuff. They're acting in junction with the reactor as gameplay mechanics, and not like as a subsidiary to the reactor as a super big major gameplay component. Like, yeah, the reactor is important, but it's not going to be absolutely critical to understanding the game. Like, you can play the game and still have a lot of fun without even touching the reactor if what we have planned goes well. Will there be more controls in ERH 2.0 from GFTW Reggie? If you mean for the
Previously.
reactor in relativity to like the thermal injection plasma reactor from ERH 1.0, we don't know yet. We plan on having a detailed control scheme, but we want it to also be accessible to new players without having to like read a 20-page book in order to understand like how to run the reactor.
You
So
shouldn't have to have like a physics degree in order to fucking run this reactor.
yeah, so we plan on having it accessible but also detailed. So yeah, that should answer your question. But in general, there will be a lot more options for being able to control your experience in ERH 2.0. Like we have a much more detailed settings menu. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of gameplay features and stuff like that. So you will have more control over your player. From Skylar Roycroft, how was your day? My day's been pretty good so far. I appreciate you asking.
And mine is, well, a little bit chaotic, but still overall fine. And also thanks for asking.
Harry X Chen 3, why should we hire you? I'm already a developer for Nico. Why are you asking this? From Creative Force, Happy New Year? Question mark. Happy New Year. Period.
Happy New Year. Period.
From GFTW Reggie again. Do you like red cream soda? Okay. I'm gonna only answer questions that are related to development from now on. Hang on.
Yeah. Okay then.
Um,
Fair enough.
will all features be available for free? And if not, what features will be paid? Every single feature that we described here will be available for free. However, we will be monetizing, but we plan on making it so that any game passes or developer products that you purchase are only a supplement to your experience, and no actual like huge mechanics are locked behind a paywall. That in itself is super annoying, and we are trying to avoid it like the plague. So
Off raider systems.
yeah, we don't plan on having a security and raider dynamic system because not only does it drive the focus away from like exploration and fun, it drives it towards more of a shooter. It also creates a pretty unhealthy dynamic because you have to pay for raider access or you have to do group trainings, and like it just doesn't really fit well with what we're going for.
Also creates an unhealthy dynamic between players.
Yeah, if say for example there's a like raider group that's like doing a patrol or something, if you're just a regular player joining the game for the first time and you have no idea who they are, you could walk into the wrong area on accident and get shot and feel like they don't want you here, so you leave and never touch the game again. So we're trying to avoid that kind of dynamic so that players can have a safe and comfortable experience within the facility. From Sartorius, what events are you most proud of so far? Astral Day 2022 or this year's Astral Central? I would say I'm more proud of this event as a whole. Like,
Yeah.
one point Astral Day of this year was probably a bit more organized, but we built a really big auditorium for this event, and I'm really proud of it. All the work
We'll
that
be expanding this for future events too.
oh yeah, trust me, this is not the last you'll see at the Vector Center. From John, what would happen if from Unfunny
This is
Lad.
a different John.
Yeah, different John. There's like a whole John like trend going on.
Ford.
What would happen if the reactor's fuel in its gaseous state leaked into the facility? Would it ignite? Not without a spark,
no.
but DTXA is highly corrosive to organic matter, including human flesh. So it's very important that you don't come in contact with it. Otherwise, very bad things will happen, and it is not easy to fix.
You'll see an NPC in your age that will, yeah, learning experiences.
He'll teach you more.
From Lava Factory, what things do you look forward to from other communities? I am really looking forward to seeing how other groups, specifically in the Spark timeline, coordinate with each other to like create experiences that kind of reference each other. Like for example, there's a bookshelf in ERH 2.0 that has a Liker manual from Nova's game North Shores Mountain Research Site. So basically, having games reference each other in that way, I think creates a really cool like method of expanding on the game's like story and the universe surrounding it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that from the communities.
And the dynamic between groups as well.
Yeah, eventually I'd like to hold one of these events, but instead of just Astral giving a presentation, it's multiple groups. but we'll see. From ATP storages, what separates your reactor from any other reactor other than design?
I'd say it's more of a prevalence issue. Like, we are less focusing on the reactor than other stuff in the game.
Yeah, the reactor itself, the fact that separates it from a majority of sci-fi games is that it isn't the like number one primary mechanic that you need to be worrying about at all times. Like, yeah, there's going to be these quote meltdown events and but whatnot, but they aren't going to have to. They aren't happening often, and they shouldn't be like your main focus while inside the facility. Like, we're trying to give um basically the reactor less importance in relativity to other gameplay features, which is what separates the DTX AFR from other games. Um okay, I'll take another tangent here from Harry X Chen 3. When was your Roblox account created? I created mine in 2012. If I remember correctly. Here, let me just check my profile real quick. Yeah, I believe it was sometime in 2012. Come on, Roblox, work with me. Yeah, join date August 18th of 2012. So yeah, that answers your question. Uh, from elevators, what will the monetization scheme in ERH 2.0 look like? I've already touched on this before, but basically, the main like game pass that we plan on selling is Astral Plus, which, by the way, if you purchase Astral Plus in ERH 1.0, you get it for free in ERH 2.0. And Astral Plus will give like a couple benefits, like being able to like toggle a extra speed bonus, or like get a chat tag or something. And you'll also get access to the teleport menu from ERH 1.0, but it will have a cooldown this time. Like, it'll be like 2 to 3 minutes between each teleport, so that you can't like cheese the game by just teleporting around the map instantly.
Probably
So
also have it disabled during events.
yes. Other than Astral Plus, we plan on having a couple game passes for like just extra bonuses. Like one of the game passes we're selling is the Drone Specialist Game Pass, which gives you a couple extra drone shells and drone paints. But again, none of the monetization will be critical to the game. You are able to have just the same experience as anyone else without any payment whatsoever. What is Astral Industries' estimated net worth? I don't know, and frankly, I wouldn't tell you anyways. Will there be maintenance tasks like those in CPUF or IITPP? Yes, we plan on having maintenance tasks, but not only for the reactor, but just in general around the map. Like, as we mentioned earlier in the presentation, Sector D, you'll be able to go into the Starlight server room and like fix up a server or two, or you can go to the cavern and like put up a support in one of the caves in order to help fix that. Just, you'll be able to do a lot of different things around the facility to like essentially do maintenance. From Azurfresh Dreamer, what exactly is DTXA comprised of? What elements or compounds? So for DTXA, which its full name is Deuterium Tritium X Aerosol, the aerosol meaning that it's the gaseous form. It's a mixture between regular old deuterium, which is hydrogen 2, and tritium X, which is our sci-fi compound. Tritium X is formed by taking regular tritium and putting it through a machine called the hypercapacitor, which essentially dumps a ton of energy into that tritium to supercharge it. And
Not really the only. That's not really the only way, but like, yeah, that's one of the ways you'll be doing it in ERH.
Yeah, and Tritium X specifically is what makes the DTX AFR work. The volatility and reactivity of Tritium X is magnitudes of order greater than Tritium. So by combining it with deuterium, you have a very potent fuel source for a reactor. From Asleep Orange, this is kind of a weird question, but what is your developer model like? Like, you have a bunch of developers and then a team leader? Do you have each developer working on their own? It seems the developer model here works really well, and I'm curious on also how you control your developers. We are not organized that well. Like, basically the ranking structure for developers is that we have the founder, myself. I lead all group operations and manage like game design and stuff. Then we have developers who can either choose to work on their own projects, like STM has Off-World Energy Productions site Reconstructed that they're working on from time to time. and developers basically develop, like, they can help out with games at any time they want, and like sometimes I ask them to do specific things like plan out a layout or build a room or something, but most of the time we're all just working together as a team in order to as a one big developer team in order to create like a great experience. And then there's also the supporting developer team, which are devs that don't work in studio. These are people like our voice acting teams. Uh, they help us with our NPC system, which they will have actual voice lines in game, which I think is really cool. Man, I wish I showed that off now. But yeah. When was your first experience with Roblox Studio? Like 2.5 years ago, June 16th of 2020. That was when I picked up Studio for the first time, and that is why Astral Day is celebrated on June 16th. It's because when I started my first Astral project being Off-World Energy production site. Will you be able to fix the DTX AFR after something went wrong? That is something we are considering. I mean, again, I can't give you a definite answer right now, but the idea is good. And like, yeah, you'll be able to repair the reactor and do maintenance on it while it's in like downtime or whatever, but being able to fix it after a catastrophic event could be interesting. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for suggesting. From Bread Enjoyer, will there be any kind of secondary reactor for fuel production or as a test bed? And if not, how does Astral get tritium to be hypercapacitored? Do they buy from Aurora? No, they don't buy from Aurora. But the closest thing we'll have to a test bed reactor is the hypercapacitor, which will be mounted somewhere in Sector B, and that's where you'll be making Tritium X. From Azerfrisk, so is Tritium X a compound responsible for the corrosive property of DTXA? Yes, it is. All that volatility is what causes the corrosive properties. Does Tritium X or Zenton output more energy? I don't know. Frankly, I don't remember any numerical values for it, and I'm not trying to start a reactor conflict between Nova and Astral. Both reactors are great. They work. I mean, that's all I really gotta say.
Think of it like
Yeah.
this. One of them, if they explode, irradiates all of Vancouver. The other one, if it explodes, only irradiates the facility.
Well, let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
If everything in the chamber combusts, is there a fire suppression system? There's not really a water or foam-based fire suppression system, but there are 4 different methods of shutting down the reactor before the entire chamber can ignite. If you look in the lore drops channel in the Discord, you can see the DTX AFR blueprints, which have a list of those shutdown options. From
Whoever's reacting, 1 second. Whoever's reacting in the SDevs channel, please stop.
Yeah, Harry, please. So from ATP, what is your team's programming skills, i.e., years, languages, features in those languages? Now that I think about it, I'm really the only scripter on the team besides STM. STM has quite a bit of experience. But
Although I do.
Yeah, everyone on the team has some level of coding experience, but for me specifically, I have 2.5 years. I'm like dabbling in metatables and stuff. But it's mainly just we're all like pretty inexperienced with programming. So yeah. Are there any plans of some way to mitigate the corrosion effect should there be a leak of DTX from Azerfrisk? As of now, no. The entire chamber is fully sealed, and there's only like 1 entrance into it. So it should be nigh impossible for DTX to leak out. But we probably should have some kind of system to prevent it from like fully causing everyone in the facility to die neurotoxin style. So we should probably get something like that. From Aurelius Helios Algernon, are there any interesting or unique details or lore related to the reactor system that players should know about? Again, I'll touch on this. If you go to the lore drops channel in the Astral Discord server, you can see the blueprints for the DTX AFR Alpha 3 model specifically, which I think is like probably the most interesting part of the reactor. Just like all of the like different details behind it that you'll be able to mess around with. So you should go look at that if you're interested and like getting a bit more of a deep dive into what the reactor does and like the different control systems behind it. In lore, does the DTX AFR ever experience a superstructure failure? That is undetermined.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, could eventually, but as of now, again, that's undetermined. If you have any other questions, please submit them now. We'll wait a couple minutes for the stream delay to go through, but if not, then we'll call it a day for the Q&A session. From 20 Axis, aka Wikia Scratch Boy, will there be multiple steps for preparation of the DTX AFR before starting it up? Again, as of now, that is unknown. We don't want it to be insanely complicated. We want you to be able to just look at the control panel and figure out how to start it up. But we do plan on having it be a bit more complex than just turning a key and pressing a button. So we'll get to that bridge when we get to that, all right? All right, we'll just give it about a minute or so if anyone wants to ask anything else, but if not, then we will go ahead and call it a day. And remember, you can ask in the Ask the Devs channel in the Discord or in the YouTube chat. I'll go ahead and take a look at that too.
Just a reminder that we do actually have stuff planned for tomorrow in terms of Astral Central stuff.
Yes. This is only day 1 of the event. Day 2, tomorrow, I will be giving a series of presentations in the Astral Industries Discord server about different concepts. For example, there's a concept about brand design, where you will learn how to create effective logos and brands in order to make your game stand out and also look good, instead of looking like you just got it from Google Images. Another one that I will be doing is for creating ambient music for absolute beginners. So I'll go over the basics of the kinds of instruments you would use in ambient music, the software is behind them, how you can do it for free, and just in general, so you can start creating your own music for your games. And there will be a couple other different presentations that I'll be giving, so if you want to tune into those, join the Astral Industries Discord server and stay tuned there. Alright, from Joshua Star Wars, how long will the DTX AFR superstructure failure be? Again, as of now, that is unknown. The events are going to be, like, planned out. Like, they're probably going to last a while. Like, we have, like, several phases planned. Like, not really planned, but just, like, slated out. So, yeah, it'll be long, but not insanely long. Like, not long enough where we get bored halfway through because nothing's happening.
Yeah.
From Azer Frisk, is it possible for the hypercapacitor to create other iterations of Tritium X or any byproducts of making Tritium X? The hypercapacitor isn't really a reactor per se. Like, it doesn't create elements. What it does is it basically, all it does is it takes a crap ton of energy and just dumps it all at once into the main chamber, which is why it's called a hypercapacitor. Capacitor is an electrical device that stores and quickly releases energy, and hyper meaning a lot. So stores and releases a lot of energy really quickly. And there are no byproducts for making Tritium X because there's no extra matter being put into it. There's no like chemical change. It's only like electrical, or not like electrical, but chemical. God, there's no physical like phase changes. Like there's no like it's not like you get another element out of nowhere. From Asleep Orange, will there be events that just happen at random, like how PB does stuff like plasma and lava events? Also a decent idea. We'll have to look into that, but in ways that affect the whole facility and not just the reactor. Redstone Parkour, will you be able to make your own fuel production line? You will be able to make the to make the fuel for the DTX AFR, Tritium X specifically, and you can import deuterium via the cargo bay. So in theory, yeah, you'll be able to make your own fuel production line. And if you're talking about in your apartment, then I guess we could install like a mini hypercapacitor. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Please do not cook Tritium X in your apartment.
Oh god. Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't even
we
get
have that
started
to
with
worry
that.
about.
Would the reactor generate byproducts, and could we use a catalyst to make the reactor more stable, run hotter longer, etc.? Would this generate downsides or byproducts that you need to deal with? And this is all from Creative Force. That is an interesting idea. I haven't really thought of that. But potentially like switching out deuterium for like helium 3 or something, or along those lines could be interesting. I'll have to look more into the science behind that though, since I want it to at least somewhat resemble the like actual science behind fusion. So if there's like any kinds of like catalysts or anything that you have in mind, please send them to me so I can take a deep dive into it. I need my Wikipedia session for the day.
Oh God! Don't get Astral started.
Yeah, from Wikia Scratch Boy. So if the hypercapacitor is basically a giant energy storage thing, then is there a chance of it overloading or leaking? I mean, potentially. Like, it would be very difficult to overload it, but it could happen. Because it takes a really long time to charge.
Just like, don't touch it while it's charged and you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah. Will the size of the apartments be expandable? As of now, we have no plans for making apartments expandable. That would kind of mess with the dynamic that we have of that all apartments are the same size. I mean, unless we have like bigger plots and then you start with restricted plots, but having unnecessary restrictions could be interesting. Again, we'll have to take a deeper dive into that, since like expandable apartment sizes have their pros and cons. Like for example, if it's locked behind a paywall, that's not good. But if it's locked behind a level requirement, then maybe. Because like if anyone else in the chat has ever played Splatoon 3, then you know they have the locker system, in which the lockers, like, you can customize them, and as you level up you get a bigger locker. So I mean, potentially something like that could work, but we'll have to take a look into the pros and cons and decide that later. Can the DTX AFR combust Zenton, and if so, what might happen? It cannot. It can't combust Zenton. The way the Liker works and the way the DTX AFR works are fundamentally different, and so there's no way that the DTX AFR could properly combust Zenton.
Nor any other reactor matter for that matter, like Vantium or stuff like that.
All right. Again, if there are any more questions, now is your chance to ask. We'll do like 2 or 3 more questions and then we'll call it a day because this has been going on for far too long.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where is ZRH located? Canonically, the Energy Research Hub is located in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia in the United States. I thought they were a pretty cool location, and they have a really nice environment, and it just makes sense for the like climate around ERH. Plus, it's somewhat-ish close to the equator, so it's good for space launches as well, so that you can take advantage of the Earth's rotation in order to get more efficient launches.
Can I answer this one from Asker?
Sure, go ahead.
Given the confinement method is magnetic, what might happen if magnetic objects found their way into the chamber? I guess the way to describe it would be, well, what I think would happen was, do you know what happens when you bring metal objects near an MRI machine? That, but turned up to 11.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And Dreamer, your point about Blue Ridge Mountains becoming Blue Ridge craters, that isn't really a thing. Even if all the DTXA inside the reactor chamber combusts, the worst damage it would do is cause like a small earthquake, or in the like a 15-mile radius or something. It wouldn't leave a giant crater. The facility would just kind of collapse in on itself, since the reactor chamber is already set below ground, so it has the rock around it to absorb the blast. Not only that, but also the chamber and the rest of the facility. It's not gonna be like if anyone here has ever watched the Zombie Play series by the Final Minutes on YouTube, it's not gonna be like the Magno loops where it just blows up the entire planet. It's probably going to be more like just a pretty big explosion going off, but no substantial damage is going to happen to the outside environment. What would happen if you shut off the air purification system? You won't be able to. But if you did,
You'd
yeah,
get fired.
you'd all be inhaling dust from the caverns, which is not good. Dumb question.
Asphyxiation.
Yeah, dumb question. Does Linus Tech Tips exist in the Spark timeline? I'm not answering that. I'll leave that up to your interpretation.
He'd probably find a way to drop the DTX DFR if he managed to find his way in the chamber.
Drop the Jupiter 5 tablet.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to now conclude this Q&A session. Again, thank you all so much for actually showing up. I did not expect this many people to be here.
Neither did I.
So yeah, it's insane that we are able to go from nothing to having this big of an audience in like 2 years. So again, thank you all so much for showing up, and we'll leave the Vector Center open for you to explore the booths for like 30 minutes or so. I would highly recommend looking around the Vector Center and like reading all the information we put on the booths, because there's a lot of really fun info. And also, you may want to take a look behind some of the booths. I heard there's something sketchy going on. But yeah, that will conclude today's Q&A session, and in total, there's only one thing left for day 1 of Astral Central 2022, and that is our game night. Join us later tonight, and I will ping game night pings in Astral when it's ready, but we will be having a game night to celebrate our community. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and we will see you next year for our keynote. All right, we'll see you all later.